Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the esteemed women leaders out here. We're doing it, I think, this is the fourth edition here online, and we did a couple of offline as well prior to online. We started this during the pandemic time uh, when I'm talking about the online. Oh, it really gives us a great pleasure getting all the people together from US, Philippines, Colombia, and also from India and Germany. And I think we're going to have I think one more speaker very soon from London. So I really see so privileged that getting all the people together and on one platform. That's what is called GWFM, and my name is Dr. Shiva. So first person to welcome and first person to serve you. Uh, we've been doing a lot of events worldwide, and our events are very unique. And we are not that after the event, you're nobody. We always keep connected, and we touch, and also we connect heart to heart, and also we share a lot of emotional connect where we create sense of belongingness, and we're the first one to create uh, WFM Professionals Day, and a lot of bonding and a lot of activities, a lot of innovations that we have been doing, all because of leaders like you and kind of support that we get from all the places. It is just mind blowing, and I'm really in the journey. And every time I talk to each leader, I get some new ideas and new thought process. In fact, me and Melissa have been talking about some of the new initiatives and a lot of discussions. And welcome you to Women Leadership Roundtable 2025. We have a very trending topic, which we're going to talk about. And we're going to have a lot of discussions about the. We're going to have a keynote from Melissa, and then going to have a discussions. Welcome all the audience who joined from all over the world. Feel free to ask any question to any of the speakers, any of the panelists, or if you have any point of view, please type it down. Today we're going to have a great session with a lot of takeaways, which we can really adopt and learn probably, which we can, take it as a kind of practice in our life. Morning, we had a fantabulous session with EPAC, and we had some of them joined from Australia as well. Two of the panelists joined in. Oh, it was amazing, and a lot of them talked about new stuff, and I really learned a lot, and I'm sure that the audience have learned a lot in the process. So, with this, not much of time that I'm going to take. With this, I welcome uh, Melissa. Melissa Johnson doesn't need an introduction. I don't see anyone who doesn't know Melissa. Melissa has been one of the thought leaders, and I really admire and look up to her for her way she influences and way she leads the team, way she leads the business. This is one of the great leaders. We have a great panelist. We have Francia, who heads uh, contact center in Philippines of Manulife. We have Evelyn from Guatemala, and Tash from South Africa, and we have Jackie from Colombia, and Veena from India. She leads one of the largest AI company. They got one of the awards recently in the last year as one of the innovative practices which they have. And Jackie has been a great supporter, and Francia have been a great supporter in APAC and Latin. And great to have you, Nina, first time with us from Germany. A lot to hear from each one of you. I'm going to really learn a lot of things from you people. I'm so excited. I'm sure that all of us are equally excited. Over to you, Melissa. Great to have you, Melissa, for taking your time out to prepare kind of context and kind of questions that you have designed. Just fantabulous. I'm so excited to listen to you and also fellow esteemed panelists. With this, Melissa, over to you. Looking forward to today's session.
Thank you so much, Shiva. I'm so excited to be here. I'm actually coming to you from one of my centers today in DR. And it really is truly an honor always to speak to a women's leadership roundtable. And I've really been looking forward to this panel. And I think this topic is very, very important. So obviously today we're talking about breaking down barriers, and we talk about that a lot. But today it's very specific. It's around women's leaders driving workforce agility and business resilience in AI and automation. I really want to start it with a different question though, because a lot of times we talk about, breaking through barriers or getting a seat at the table or expanding what we do as leaders. But the question that I really want to open to is the one that really matters the most to me. And I think it really resonates a lot with leaders across the world or people coming up in their careers wherever they are, is now that you have a seat at the table, what are you going to do with it? Because it's not getting here that's the win, right? It's not that first time you get a seat at the table and you're excited, and it is exciting, guys. But it's staying here, it's speaking up, it's driving change, it's pulling up more chairs. That's the work in the work we do. So we're living in this moment across the workforce management and HR and TA space where there's just massive disruption. I mean, we have AI, we have automation, we have hybrid work, we have global volatility. And a lot of times we have this kind of temptation to overcorrect with systems, with models, with efficiency metrics, and with math. But what we need right now isn't just a smarter system, a better bot. It's smarter leadership. It's human leadership. It's the kind of leadership that you're going to hear from this panel today. And that's why I'm so excited that we've put together this group. You're going to hear from women today that are building agile teams without burning them out. Women who are implementing implementation and protecting the human experience. And I talk a lot about the human element. Like I refuse to call people headcount in my organizations anymore because it's not heads, it's humans. It's human count, and words matter. And that's why the women who are here are reshaping hiring, culture, operations. They're doing it with values at their center. They're leading with empathy. They're understanding the impact that we all bring to our seats. And wherever you are in your career, as you listen to this isn't a tech conversation. There's many tech conversations happening. This is a leadership conversation. It's a conversation that needs our voice. So today, it's not about titles, it's about impact. It's about, how we're going to lead with a clear path and how we're going to create space for others who finally have that seat at the table. So I want to make this conversation real, relevant, accountable, and see what we're doing to break through barriers together. Because we all hold very different responsibilities in our organization. We may have similar titles, but our jobs are changing very, very quickly, where titles don't mean what they used to mean. Like workforce management has gone beyond into HR and talent acquisition and reporting and strategic planning and finance, and it's so much more. So that's really where I've kind of shaped our questions for the group today. And I'd kind of like to start with just an all-in group panel, and we have a lot of panelists today. So as I kind of go around, if you can just introduce yourself very quickly, and then what's the one defining leadership value or belief that guides you through these transformations? So I'm going to start because I don't want to miss anyone, so bear with me just a second. I'm going to start with Nina. So Nina?
Yeah, thank you, Melissa, for setting the stage for our conversation today. So I'm Nina. I'm located in Frankfurt in Germany. I'm heading the talent acquisition for continental Europe here within Wipro. We are a large global IT services organization. And driving transformations is for us really crucial because we don't need to do it only. Also, we there's not only the need to do it within our organization, there's also the need to do it for our clients. Yeah, and when we talk about AI and automation, it is really something that needs to be in the DNA of our organization. So if we don't know how to leverage AI, how can we advise our clients to do that? And therefore, yeah, so that's really crucial for us. If you ask me about this one specific paradigm, yeah, which is relevant to me as a person working in that space, I think it's in total three, if I'm allowed to say. I make it short and simple. The first one is for me, focus on progress and not perfection. That means really not to lose your long-term goal out of your view and really work against that long-term goal rather than getting lost in the nitty and the gritty of a day-to-day job, right? Be authentic, meaning that everyone should be aware of his or her, or even I need to be aware of my own gaps, yeah, and take feedback from others. I think it's really crucial. And there is a saying, like culture eats strategy for breakfast, and I like even more the saying, which is I eat no for breakfast. Yeah, so really, yeah, really trying to seek solutions rather than waste your time with problem statements. I think these are the three paradigms from my side.
Nina, I'm going to start eating no for breakfast. It probably has less calories and gets more done. So I love that. I love that. Jackie, how about you?
Well, one of the things that I believe, like it should have a signature in all the leadership value that we provide into our day-to-day activities to actually move us and move the team for transformation, is to start creating that sense of empowerment for everybody, especially because, as you said, we already have a seat on the table. But right now, our job as leaders is to make sure that we create that trust in the team. Trust that they can take decisions, trust that they can own the work that they have, and trust that they will have the motivation to drive through any through any activities that they will face on with anything that will well, with everything that they will encounter. Because if I don't create that sense of empowerment at the end of the days, it doesn't talk to me very well that we are creating this space for them to be now the new members that will have that seat in the table. Also, that sense of resilience, only because these days we have to create that mindset of flexibility and adaptability, especially because we are in the middle of a very volatile business. And we as leaders that now we have that seat in the table is how I believe how we can actually help our team members to navigate through uncertainties is one of the critical things that, at least from a day-to-day basis, is something that I try to just put that stamp in my teams and making sure that we leave that sense of flexibility. Because we are in the game of change management, right? We are in the game of change management, and if we don't actually are open to new ideas, we might not be leading a team to be really ahead of the curve. And another critical point, Melissa, that I believe is very important to, well, especially in this era in which we have so many barriers, we have so many constraints, is having a grown mindset. That growth mindset is actually going to keep us and keep the team in a very continuous improvement mentality. And I think that is something that will lead us all to improvement. And also, I will say more importantly, again, and that's the homework that I try to do all the time, is Jackie has a seat in the table, but how is that I can keep enabling those opportunities for my team members to have that seat in the table? And I believe that growth mindset is something that, yes, will give them that opportunity to explore new things, to explore the little details, because I keep telling everybody in the little details is when we have the true flavor of things. And I believe that's pretty much it. I'm going to pass the ball to the rest. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, Jackie. You actually present a really strong visual. Like what I got when you were talking is imagine us, like we have this seat at the table, but there's an entire team standing behind you in that seat. And you said the word trust. So trusting the people that support you at the table is critical. So I think that's very relevant. Francia, how about you?
Sure. First, I would like to, welcome everyone in this session, and it's a privilege to be here. This is actually my third time to participate in this Women Leadership Roundtable. To answer your question, Melissa, for me, it's empathy. It is key to effective leadership, especially during times of change. It means understanding and valuing others' feelings and perspective. By being empathetic, I can better manage how change affects individuals and the teams that I manage. And ensuring everyone feels included and supported, especially during these times of change. Empathy helps us address teams members' concerns, building trust and collaboration. And it also allows us to recognize each person's strengths, leading to better decision making in driving change and innovation in our organization. And for me, lastly, empathy ensures that change is not just about meeting business goals. It's also about supporting our people, leading to a more engaged and resilient workforce.
That's great. And I love how you tied empathy to understanding. And that's really the power there. Because it's not just about being empathetic to people. It's understanding why they are and why they're in, like why they're thinking the way they are. And it's so critical for our teams and what AI is going to drive. So great call out. Tosh, happy to have you back on a panel. Would you like to give us your summary?
And firstly, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure representing South Africa on this platform. I don't need an introduction, but just to lead on to my response, I've been in workforce management for the last 11 years, and it's my primary skill. It's my core skill being an analyst, and then I converted that to or transformed that to being a leader the last 7 years. And for me, it's adaptability. I think in order to drive transformation and lead innovation, you've got to be adaptable as a leader. You got to take your people on that journey. And it kind of ties into everything Nina spoke about, Jackie spoke about, and Francia spoke about. And in order for you to do that as a leader, you're going to need to be able to get creative in the way you handle the change and how you respond to it. I think often enough, I've been through different projects in my time. And the one that I spoke about earlier was the AI innovation sort of lead that I took on a tech project. And I think the response on how you handle human beings versus what you're getting from a bot is two different things. And when you bring about transformation or you implement transformation, you got to get your people on the journey to help you take that to the next level, take that project to the next level. And for me, as a leader, if you got to lead from the front and the back with this, especially when you're having to take your team into account, take the skill sets that surround you into account and level it up. So for me, in this, the key thing for me is adaptability as a leader. You gotta shift, change, be agile, move around, understand your surroundings, know what you're working with, and be solution focused.
Absolutely, Tosh. It's amazing. And I think you have been such a visible way to see adaptability, just following you for the last few years in your career. Excellent. Evelyn, love to hear from you and your perspective on this.
Well, I think The team have covered almost all of the topics, right? But I totally agree with everything that they said, right? And I think we all have to be strategic, as Nina was saying, right? We have to be adaptable, the same that we are asking from our teams, right? To be adaptable as well, to actively listen to the things that are happening while we are moving forward, right? As they were saying, it's not about perfection is the enemy of execution, right? So we have to actively listen to what is going on, the support that the team needs, how can we help them? So that's the part of the empathy, right? Being empathetic to things that we might not have considered at the beginning, and that the team that is actually getting the traction on things to be done for them to get what they need, right? Sometimes it was not in the plan, but it's something that we have to take into consideration. We have to be adaptable, flexible, actively listening to our teams, right? And of course, helping them, providing the support, and aiming for the goal that we have in this innovation that we're constantly looking for, right? How can we make a better job, a smart job, and not a hard one, right? You're in mute, Melissa.
I'm so sorry. I don't think Camila and Aida have joined yet, so I'm going to end with Vina to kind of close out the thought.
I think all of you have, almost spoken and so many relevant thoughts and ideas that you all have shared. I just want to top it up with one. I think I agree with all of whatever you have said. One, I mean, we recently did our leadership principles in our organization, so I can easily resonate and relate to what you all are saying. One thing what I probably loved in our leadership principles is this: um, drive clarity, drive results for clients, and be bold. Be bold to make the change, be bold to stand up and say this doesn't work, or this works, or this is what we should do. At times we as women leaders probably take a bit of a backseat at times. So I think now that we have got a seat in the table, as Melissa said, I think being more bold, drive the change for clients, drive the results for them. I think it can be internal clients or external, doesn't matter. But as long as we drive that, and I think that's what is the end result that everyone expects. We, of course, will have to empower our teams. We need to be more empathetic. We may have to unlearn and learn again, and be adaptable for this transformation. But at the same time, I think we should be a bit bold and drive the change that the clients expect from us. So I think that's what I want to say, Melissa.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I think, as I kind of think through the notes as you guys were talking, like, it's so, for you guys listening, we do not coordinate our answers before a panel. So it's so great that we just went in so many different directions and covered everything from just your attitude of eat no for breakfast, leading with trust and empathy, adaptable but still strategic, driving clarity and complexity, being bold in your questions. I think, it really represents really who we are at the leadership table and really what it takes to be successful. So I want to dive in a little bit around workforce agility as we kind of hit into the meat of this topic. So friends, I'm going to start with you. How are you specifically building agility in your teams today?
Melissa, sorry to interrupt. We have Kevin. Kevin is in second page. Kevin, are you there?
Yes, I certainly am. Hi there,
Okay.
everyone.
Oh, there you
Thank you,
are.
Dr. Shiva.
I'm
Okay.
sorry I missed you, Camille.
Right.
Can you
All
kind
good, all
of
good.
give us your summary of, what's the one defining leadership value or belief that guides you through transformation?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Dr. Shiva, and thank you, everyone. Hoping everyone is having a great midweek, right? So yeah, for me personally, I actually have two main things that I follow through. First is actually my full trust to God. He's my ever-present help. So I trust, I know that where He places me is He's going to be there with me, and that I have a purpose that I should serve, and that I impart to my colleagues in my team. Now, second, of course, I think the rest of the ladies have mentioned also about adaptability, embracing change, and it's in the sense of really navigating transformation. So I know we are data driven, and so we have to always make sure that we are open to changes, especially now that technology is really at par in everyone's mind. AI is always there. So you always have to be open in all the options and all the choices that we have. And we have to be ready for all the changes that's to come for workforce management. So that's for me. Everything else, I agree to everyone.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you've joined us today. It's nice to see a new face on the panel. Not that it's nice to see older faces who've been here before as well. All right, so back to you, Francis. How are you building agility in your teams today?
Sure. Workforce agility is all about being flexible and ready to handle whatever comes our way. So, so to achieve this, I focus on creating a team culture where learning and adapting are part of our every workday life. So one way I do this is by making sure everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas and feedback, having that open communication, and also making sure that each team members can talk freely about what is working and what needs improvement, which in turn helps us solve problems faster. I also I also encourage my team to try new things and think outside the box by letting them or giving them the freedom to experiment and come up with innovative solutions, because that's the only way we can stay ahead of the curve and can quickly adjust to new challenges and opportunities. For example, if there's a new technology that emerges that could impact our work, my team is already in the habit of learning and adapting. This means we can embrace change smoothly or quickly rather than being caught off guard or being reactive to change. So building agility is like preparing the team to be great problem solvers, quick thinkers, and ready to tackle whatever the future holds for us.
Absolutely. It's really a good wrap to the point earlier that Nina had said around trust and getting that attitude together. So Tosh, what has helped you through the unexpected disruptions that you've had?
I've got a few under my belt.
Bet.
I've got a few under my belt. I'll talk about something quite recent. Um, as you may know, my role has expanded and broadened into a new horizon. So I take care of a shared services function for Persera, and I've got different departments operating at different levels, pace, scale, autonomy, and often enough I've got something going in the one area and I got to drop that and I got to go into another area and almost work on a P1, P2, P3 scale on prioritization. And what often enough helps me to kind of lead through that disruption is kind of knowing where my people are, where the strong suits are, and how I can not delegate but reinforce them on tasks, on different priorities, on deadlines, and give them sort of more autonomy in their role and scale to level up. I use the word level up quite often because I think it's where we are now, there's barriers that can be pushed to move up. So for me, it's the almost a mindset shift that, okay, if I focus on the what, why, when, and how, and I'm not driving any solution forward thinking on how I can move past this block or this unintentional issue that's cropped up that's now derailed my entire strategy or my entire plan, um, I'm going to be held back. I'm not going to move forward from it. I'm not going to be agile and quick enough to get to the end game or to get to the finish line. So for me, it's that prioritization. It's to have that almost that leadership hat on to say, right, where are my variables? What's my reset? What do I have to work with? How do I move past this little hiccup, and who can I bring to the party to support me? Because being a leader is not being a one-man band. It's having your team around you. It's having to kind of almost put the emotional intelligence into play to say, right, where are my resources? Where are my strong suits? How can I navigate through this, but bring everyone to the party on it and level everyone up as I move through the accomplishment of getting to the finish line. It's not easy to swift past the emotion because we often enough in being analysts we get irritated quite quickly with, oh my god, this is not going to plan. We always want to be on the winning side. So I think over time you learn that when these disruptions, and this is where the critical path thinking comes into play, you gotta plan for the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. But I think how you present yourself as a leader and how quick you are on your thinking on, okay, what are my levers, where are my quick wins, and how can I almost nurse the situation back into its into motion and on its way to its end goal is really important. So for me, it's almost having to clear my thoughts, take the emotion out of it, use the resources that are presented in front of me, do it in a way that's going to drive the end result, but also take into account, you've got a team behind you, you've got some passionate people. How do you level people up in situations that you're faced with that could be poor for you, but you could actually use it to a positive and use it on a positive front?
Well, and I think, you and I careers have really mirrored the last year. And I think many of the leaders on this call is this going to happen to, and many of you who are aspiring leaders on this call, is as your roles expand, you came up with deep knowledge of workforce management. You know workforce like the back of your hand. You could speak to, you don't have to look it up, but now your roles expanded. So now you're over teams that maybe you don't have a deep knowledge of. That's where being a leader and asking questions and then analyst in all of us really helps, because I can sit at a sit and ask questions of my talent acquisition team or project management team or any other teams or facilities and just say, but why, but why, but why, but why? And that's our math brain just kicking in. And I think that's why learning how to be a good leader in our field is so critical, because our roles are expanding. Workforce is not a standalone shop anymore. And if you're going to move forward in our career field, you got to know all the adjacent career fields. So I've been excited to see your changes, and as many of us roles have adapted as we've moved into this world, and they're saying, hey, workforce may be able to take on more. So well done there, Tasha. Thanks. I'm going to close out this topic before we move to topic 2 with Vina. What tools or practices has helped your team navigate changes quickly?
Okay. Change management, I think the first and foremost practice I would say is clear communication and the change management framework. What has really worked with us is the transparency, bringing all who are involved, having the same understanding of the change. Else, usually it happens like a Chinese whisper, and one communicates and it lands up being something else at the end of the day. So, having a clear understanding. And the other thing what we follow is also the RACI metrics. Who's responsible, who's accountable, who should be consulted, who's the SME for this change management, who should be kept informed in this entire process. And incorporating the feedback loops is something that's really worked for us. The feedback loops is that you go back and see what's working, what's not working, tweak it, and again, rerun the program. So probably this is one of the best practices. Multiple change management, I think I would have handled in the last few years. And every time the RACIs or having the feedback loops is always been very handy and helpful. Tools, I think it depends on what change management we are driving. At times it can be something related very technical, something on the platform. Sometimes you are okay to do with the Microsoft Forms. So it all depends on what change management you want to drive. But the best practices and having everything documented and the process flows, I think that has really helped. That's what I would advocate for.
Yeah, I think that's good. Camille, I want to kind of flip it over to you for a moment in your workforce journey. Um, as a WFM leader, how do you ensure that your frontline agility, there's high volume, rapid shipping environment? What are you doing in your role to ensure that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually ensuring that one, I have 3 main points I wanted to always focus on. And I know I've specifically cleared this out to the team to always have this strategic planning, technology, and continuous communication. So we usually leverage whatever we have from our, say, from real-time analysts, right? We have analytics that we pass on to forecasting, we pass on to scheduling for optimization. And then from all the data points that we have to be able to get the analysis of how we actually support operations, manage the goals being set by the clients, and with there, we also empower the frontline staff, the operations, the agents themselves. If there's actually a gap within the process of workforce, it actually affects operations, and in turn, if it affects them, it affects the client's perspective of the entire company. It doesn't matter where the department gap is, the client looks at us as one. So from there, I wanted to make sure that we empower also the frontline agents. We maintain open lines of communication in terms of the leadership, the management, the managers, and also the agents themselves. It's not just a simple open door policy, but really creating that culture and environment where they can actually say whatever their ideas are. Because more often than not, their ideas actually gives a bell or a light bulb to us because they are on the frontline operations. Also, one thing we wanted to make sure is to cross train the staff. It sounds a bit simple, but then it's actually it enhances their ability to stay agile because when you know different stuff within the operations and within your support functions, then it stimulates different operational scenarios like on IROP management and everything that irregular that's happening. They have to be aware of what really is to be done. There has to be a BCP very clearly laid out, so everyone have something to follow because uh, it's not always a like a good standing for operations. There are times where spikes and unforeseen things are happening, so we have to be ready for that. I think by fostering that culture also of upskilling, of flexibility and open responsiveness, empowerment as well, I think we can ensure that frontline staff they remain agile and also flexible in the processes that we wanted to open to them.
I think that's great. I think you guys, all of your answers, it reminded me of something in my career because a lot of your answers was around leadership, but some was around like just some basic process control, like RACEs and understanding. And I worked with someone, and some of you still work with this person, Justin Marty, for many years. And he taught me something when people brought something to me, like they had an idea of like, is it repeatable and scalable? Because it's so important as leaders that we don't allow, there's so much disruption and everybody's going in different directions that we kind of in our seat saying, guys, is it repeatable? Is it scalable? Can I make it global? And those are lessons that have stayed with me in my career. Do I have a RACI? Who's accountable? Who's informed? How do I build the processes? So I think these answers all really come around to really highlight the topic of agility. And you don't think like being strict, like if I'm strict, how am I agile? But that's the whole point. You kind of build the guide rails to make sure your organization stays going on its path as all these things are changing around it. And you develop a process and you look ahead and you foster change in a very thoughtful way and ask the questions that no one's asking. And that's what's so great about what we do in our career. So I'm going to jump into the topic that everybody's talking about across the world. If I see one more post about AI and automation, I will feel like I'm reading it 3 times. Though there are some nice ones out there, it's that hot topic. It's that, the next thing that everyone's talking about, like what's the word? The bespoke solution like that are out there. So I want to talk a little bit about how you guys see this from your seat. I'm going to start with, I don't think I have, hold on. I have a question for someone who is not here, which is awesome. Not really. Evelyn, what does responsible AI adoption look like from your leadership lens?
Well, yes, as you were saying, AI is the trending topic, right? And personally, I think we're not there yet, really, as uh, all the noise that we hear about. But definitely, it's changing industries worldwide, and BPO is not an exception, right? So it impacts our work lives. It shapes how we communicate. Precisely, sometimes in all of these adaptability, innovation, and everything that we want to do, the very basics of communication are the ones that can cause a little bit more of troubles, right? So I think we have to think about AI to solve problems, to improve and make more efficient the work that we do day to day, right? And it comes with a huge potential, right, to help us specifically in the workforce management world to improve our trendings, our forecast, our analyses, how we have a faster, informed decision making, right? Making use of the AI. And in WFM, I think it also helps a lot with following processes step by step, avoiding the human error or gaps, delays in communication, as I already said, or data inaccuracy, right? And our responsibility comes with a focus on fairness, right? Privacy and compliance. That I think those are keys whenever we're thinking about AI, right? Balancing the efficiency with human-centered practices, right? And remove the manual work, right? So we're talking a lot about AI and automation, but when you go back to how the work is doing, we still have a lot of copy paste, right? So I think that should be the focus, and to have our people, our team members, to increase the time that they have in analysis, in that analytical creativity to find solutions to the problems, to add value, to improve the quality of the work that we have, to provide prompt and accurate recommendations. So, how can we improve the work so we can do it smarter, faster, taking care of our people, right? And their jobs, and how it impacts their life, work-life balance. I think that's the main responsibility that we should have with the AI.
Excellent. And, as I think about this AI and automation, I'm going to jump down to you, Vina. How are you making sure that automation actually strengthens and not replaces the human experience?
That's one of the repeated statements around, right? That will AI replace a human or not? No, I just want to quote what our group chairman Shrikant usually says, that AI doesn't replace human, but humans who don't know AI can be easily replaced. So I think that's sort of a takeaway for all of us, that we should know AI. There is no question of we getting replaced, because we will always have the human centric approach and the people centric. So that is going to be there. It's not going to replace. So definitely AI is going to complement, it is going to enhance what you're doing today. It will aid in whatever decisions you're doing, but definitely not replacing. So what are we doing? I mean, I'm part of one of the AI organizations, which, I mean, we talk AI day in, day out, with having a lot of agentic. Today, we are even talking, can we have a WFM agent in the organization who will do most of the work? So that's the conversations that we are having today. So what we're doing, especially for our team, the WFM team, or the RMG team, as we call, one is that, everyone in the organizations, we are going through the AI training. So irrespective of the role we play, understanding what's happening outside the organization, and also in our own day-to-day work, how can we adapt AI is something that we are sort of learning, and we are trying to implement it. We all may not be techies, or we are not those software engineers to actually create something, but we have teams who help us. But maybe first or the second and the third time we do implement and drive changes. So one is that learning AI in our own roles. I think that's really helping. We have taken a mandate that all of us will be AI trained. We know what the prompts. For example, what are the prompts? I mean, very basic training that we all attended was what are the effective prompts that you can give to make your work more easier? Maybe we all know today what's ChatGPT or a DeepSeek, but if we don't know what exact prompts you have to give, then it probably doesn't work for you. The AI may not work for you. So what prompts we should we give was one of the trainings that we all went through, and there is a series of such trainings going on. And I think we have seen amazing outcomes. Individuals being very keen and learning and sort of experimenting in their own way. So unless you learn what's happening and catch up with the new age technology, I think that's the only thing I think we all need to do: catch up, understand, be curious, learn. I think definitely the humans cannot be replaced, is what I would say. And it's also fun to learn these things and put that into your work and see amazing results coming out.
Absolutely. And as I pull back this a little bit, and this is why it's a workforce relevant topic, it's not about replacing automated workforce roles. But the job of workforce is to understand the impacts to the frontline agents, right? That's our job. Our job is to make sure that we forecast, predict every impact of the humans. And I spoke a few weeks ago in front of CCW, and one thing that really resonated, I'm like, guys, let's think about this. We expect all of the easy contacts to go away. Everything easy is going away. That means what's left? The emotional contacts, the difficult contacts. So we expect our agents to take the hardest contacts at the highest occupancy and deal with upset customers, navigate complex systems that an AI couldn't navigate, and to be 23 at the same time. The emotional intelligence that we're requiring from frontline agents, we have got to predict those impacts. We have to be the advocate for the frontline agents, which is bonkers, right? So a lot of workforce professionals, we thought, no, we're here to drive efficiency. You're not. You're here to fully understand that experience and predict it, right? Your job is to predict the behavior correctly and then show where you can improve it. But you can't improve it, right? At some point, it is what it is. A human is a human, and they're going to need a breath. So I think that's where our space has really changed and been like, listen, guys, we're here to tell you that you've driven so much efficiency. Like, for those of you who have been in workforce a long time, who remembers when we heard IVRs would replace all contacts? Like, IVRs were going to shut down contact centers. Everyone was going to automate. Who just hit 0 1,000 times on their phone until they get a human? Like, the humans are going to figure out how to talk to other humans. Like, that's going to happen. So, Camille, I would love for you to finish out this topic, because I love the fact that where you are in your career and you're driving that workforce change. How are you using automation in scheduling or real time to support both the performance and the people?
Right. So I guess for automation, right, we wanted to make things easier the way it is already, to drive financial savings as well as we support operations while we connect with what the goals being set by the clients are, right? So from I think we have overlooked maximization of the features of the tools that we have. I know different organizations have different tools that we use, different clients have preference on different tools. So I guess we start from this. We maximize the features of the tools that we have already. For example, in performance monitoring and feedback for real-time performance analytics, we call it as RTA bots or real-time analyst bots. There are certain features for tools where there is a notification already if agents are outside of the specific threshold. So it's being done usually by RTAs where they put a screenshot, put it on the GC, call it out to their TLs. But then there are certain tools already that has that capability. Are we maximizing it? Maybe we're thinking of a larger scale of automation, creating different tools, but we have ready tools already available, right? And we needed to maximize whatever features they already have. So that's one for real-time monitoring. We also have certain features for coaching and training, like for different tools, right? Automation can detect already when an agent requires additional supports or additional training while they're on the call. So those are just samples of performance automation for management. And then for some, there's also for balancing performance and people, right? I know we wanted to always reduce manual errors. We wanted to eliminate that as much as we can. Also for employee engagement and satisfaction, there are also tools that allow employees to request their shift changes, shift swaps. It may sound like a simple thing again, but then are we going back and maximizing whatever tool we already have? Maybe we're overlooking that part, and maybe we're looking on a bigger picture already of creating different tools that we can sell out. That is one other conversation that we can do. But then whatever we have on the floor already, we needed to maximize that. We need to distribute tasks evenly across teams also. I think those are the first steps of automations we wanted to focus on. And in addition to that is, of course, the creation of the different additional tools that would support the automation projects that we already have.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I think it's important that we kind of recognize where we are as a profession. For a long time, we did not have the automation that you would expect in workforce management. It was really kind of scary how far behind the workforce management tool set was behind in the automation journey when it seemed so simple, like call out agents, like do pop-ups. And some organizations were ahead, but now we're starting to see the real change coming in. We're starting to see really good technology around planning. We're starting to see technology around agent notifications and pop-ups. And we're starting to see the thing that a real time is not about doing call outs anymore. It's about being strategic and looking ahead. And so I think it's a big change in our industry that we have to be in front of. So I'm going to switch the topic to, I think, the one that most of us are just so passionate about, right? Because it's why we're here. And depending on where you are in your career life cycle, you may have had very different journeys and where you are in the world. Because obviously every country is in different evolutions of the barriers on how to get to the leadership table, not only as a woman leader, but also a woman leader in a math field, right? There were many barriers set in front of us, and some of you have been lucky that those have been broken down and you're really mastering your seat, and it's really exciting. So as we move into kind of breaking down barriers, I want to start with you, Nina. What's one barrier that you had to dismantle, and what helped you do it?
Yeah, so I was thinking quite intensely while preparing for this meeting here today. And to be honest, I do not really see the one main barrier that we needed to break down, so to speak, when the organization decided to implement AI. There are so many at the same time, but I think what really stands out for me is really to ask yourself where to get started. I think that is for me the most crucial question. So how Wipro had decided to approach this new world of AI was really to bring together teams across functions, really people from different areas of the organization, brought together to really review existing processes and to decide which processes needs to be revamped, and then take a joint decision, and then find external partners to help us implement AI. And so this is the one thing, really to get started at some point, and then include as many different opinions as possible. And then really to get started with that. And I think it was mentioned here already as well. Of course, the organization is offering trainings like AI principles, fundamentals trainings. I think every 230,000 employees, which we have globally, were required to do at least the basic training. And then I think around about 44,000 colleagues got certified in the extended advanced levels of training. But this is also just the one thing, right? And then the next question which may arise is really how to start using it. And I think this is, for me, the most critical. If you ask for how you're tackling this as a leader, I'm working closely with my team. Yeah, lead by example. Don't talk about it. You need to do it yourself. So I really like to have learning lunches with my team. Yeah, so everyone is then required to present a new use case, how someone is using the AI within their day-to-day work and present it to the wider audience. Yeah, like basic learning lunch session. But really to really do it during every single option, whether it may be all hands meeting, which are hosted by leadership teams, um, uh, whatever kind of communication training offerings you have, but really convince people by showcasing the value, and that's for me the most critical. Yeah, not just get something implemented, but really communicate on the use case and how it can support every single person. And I think Camille already spoke about how her organization is leveraging AI in appraisal cycles, if I understood this correctly. So we have something very similar. It's a conversational Gen AI assistant. And whatever question you have, yeah, you just open it and you ask the question. For example, I don't know, show me all my approvals, right? And then it gives you all the approvals which you need to do on your work list as a one-stop shop, yeah, and you don't need to, log into different portals. You have it in one view and then you just click through and get it done. So I think these are really the things that make life easier. And if you start communicating on that, I think it will help you to make more people use it.
Thank you, Nina. I think that's some good insights. Jackie, can you share a moment when your perspective changed in the direction of a conversation, a policy, a strategy, as thinking about this topic of breaking barriers?
Great. Wow. So I'm going to use an example that maybe is not 100% related with WFM, but you will see how it helps me from a WFM perspective. So two of my biggest passion besides WFM is tennis. So Jackie is a tennis player that almost every week is at the court practicing and making sure that I'm always thinking about strategies in how to win that game. So when you practice on a daily basis, you know your strength, you know where to put the ball, you kind of have that memory and you want to apply those strategies on a regular game or tournament. So you know what is the biggest killer that you can actually use on a game, and you try to apply the same things over every single game. But guess what? When you go in a tournament, most likely you will not be practicing at the same time that you regularly practice. In my case, when I practice tennis, I go either early in the morning, late in the evening. But if I'm in the middle of a tournament, most likely I will be playing noontime in Barranquilla, Colombia, which is almost 37 Celsius. A different condition, wow, like change immediately of the entire scenery. So what is the big perspective that I apply on a tennis tournament is pretty much understanding what is my new environment. What is the new environment that I'm actually dealing with? Also understanding my opponent, like, oh wow, what are the strength, what is the weakness part of my opponent, and do I actually have to do my traditional way of playing that ball with that opponent, or do I have to switch it based on the environment conditions, based on the abilities of my opponent? And now taking that example and connecting that with the passion of WFM, I actually find it very interesting, Melissa, because that makes me think on the daily basis, on my work daily basis, in what is the secret salsa that I have to give to my team members to bring that point across. Why? Because they have their methodology of doing things. They know what is their great superpower, but most likely we need to understand the needs of my stakeholders. We need to understand what do they need and what is the language as well that they want to listen from a WFM perspective. So what is that secret salsa that I keep like basically sharing with my team members is let's understand that environment. That environment is always changing, and not the like not because I was successful with one call with one different or particular team members, I'm going to apply the same formula everywhere. I have to be flexible. I have to be curious because if I don't adapt to the way my stakeholder wants to listen, that storytelling or that point that I want to bring across most likely will not even pass that barrier. So it's also making sure that we also have a good active listening in the middle of the meetings, and making sure as well, and I will say this is truly a strong focus that I'm doing with my team, is truly the storytelling. It's the storytelling of things, because I find my people very strong, different powers, fantastic powers out there. But unfortunately, um, I'm finding that we need to keep working on that communication aspect of the business. So I will say from all the ingredients of that secret salsa is basically that huge storytelling or communication, understanding who are my stakeholders, and based on that is basically one of the things that I keep emphasizing in. Let's put a lot of emphasis on that, because that will help you break that barrier, and that will help you bring that point across. And also, um, I will say the other big point that I use with them is assessing risk as well. Assessing risk, or you might like see that as arriving into a conversation with a very proactive mindset, making sure that I understand where my stakeholders are going to go to. And if I understand that, I will be able, like in tennis, I will be able to attack that ball better and make sure that we have that point across and we have that good rally here and there, and making sure that at the end of the days, the goal of our meetings is super successful. So just to summarize, I will say that from all the components, I will add, yes, agility. I will add that flexibility or adaptability that we have been talking about. And I will add like a third big component is that open mindset, because that open mindset will be able to help me drive that point across, and making sure that I don't feel I have any barriers to actually say not only um, Jackie as a leader, but Jackie and her team are winning on a daily basis that seat at the table, and because they understand the environment of things, and they try to make sure that they put the point across based on the needs of my stakeholders, based on the needs of the business. I hope that that makes sense, but that's what
Yeah,
I wanted to share with you today.
it's funny because I got something very unique out of it and I want to share it. So, one of the things we hear from women leaders a lot, I'm sure all of you have heard this, is, I just don't feel like I belong, right? I don't feel like, we have imposter syndrome or whatever we're calling it today. And maybe it's because we want the court to feel the same every time, and it doesn't. If you want to be good, like you have got to be prepared to play at different times with different people. And I think, especially for those of you in the BPO space, you're not dealing with one boss, you're dealing with hundreds of bosses at the same time. And like, if you want to feel comfortable all the time, then you're probably in the wrong place. Because we're not made to feel comfortable. We're not going to play on a clay court every time. And if you're used to clay, you better be careful because you're going to get turf one day.
Yes,
So I think it's
yes.
great about being okay, being uncomfortable. It's okay. So Tosh, I would love to hear from you. Like, What does leadership visibility look like for the women you work with today, of where you are in your seat?
Well, I'm a living, breathing example. For one, you know, Melissa, a couple of years ago when I did this forum, I mentioned that WFM is a male-dominating world because there's maths involved, and it's been the history. It's just been a stigma attached to workforce management, unfortunately. But fortunately, across my decade span, I've been able to see the evolution of how we've come out of the mindset of this is a male dominating space, and we see more and more women join that force, join that leadership front. And I can safely say that in my organization today, there is a equal male to female ratio sitting on that exec table, sitting around that senior leadership table, which is why I said I'm a living, breathing example of one. And I think for me personally, you know, being part of an organization, being a leader with influence across the organization, it's so important to use the voice that you have at that table. And I mentioned this, taking your people on a journey. And I'm not just saying it's taking the women on the journey, it's taking everyone on the journey and seeing where your successes are, and kind of rising above all of the norms and the status quos of women can't do this, women can't do that. But it's almost bringing both that male and female mindsets together and having them almost amalgamate with a great strategy and great sort of strengths that they could kind of skill share best practices on. And I think it's us, as I like to say, with the powers that be, cultivate that energy and cultivate that culture within the organization. And I think for me personally, in my organization, we're striving for that. There's forums being held, there's empowerment sessions, and I'm I wear it with pride when I get to go and sit in these forums and listen to other influential leaders within the business, both male and female. But I think, to be very direct, it's been a challenge to have a seat at the table. Yeah, you might be heard, but are you then, like, do you have the autonomy to carry out that strategy, or do you have the autonomy to lead that project? And the evolution I talk about today is that I can go and sit in a room, I can present an idea, and I can lead it from the front. And I'll have my entire team on board ready to go with me. And for me, that is that coming from being you speak when you're spoken to, in forums like that versus everyone coming together. And I encourage that. My entire career, I've encouraged every individual, regardless of where you sat in terms of level, to have a voice. If you're in a forum, if you're in a meeting, it's not just limited to your senior and your exec teams. If you have an idea, bring it. We're not going to know if you're going to keep it in. We're not going to know. You might bring about some revolutionary change. But I think what we do well as leaders, being female, is that we're able to articulate ourselves well and give people that safe space, give our teams and our successes that safe space to explore their own sort of talent and ideas. And sometimes they may not be brave and bold enough as we are. Often enough we take it and we run with it. But I think it's also about creating that safe space and making sure everyone is seen and heard. So I think for me, it's just having to level out the playing field and having the right talent positioned to bring about the change in the organization. And I think we've got that.
Absolutely. And I know a couple of our speakers had to drop. Evelyn, are you still there for one question?
Hi, I'm still here.
If you can just because one thing I really wanted to hear from you is, what's one barrier you're still working to break, and what keeps you motivated?
Oh, thank you. Well, from the barriers, I think I have to agree with some of my colleagues here, and it's the mindset to adapt, right? The mindset from all the stakeholders that you have in one project, innovation, that they have to be on board, right? So that causes, I think, a slow adoption to embrace the change and to get some traction into the innovations and the different projects that you can have, or the new processes to be implemented, looking for efficiencies. And that's just the way I think I work, right? If I'm sitting somewhere and I'm listening to the problem, I'm already having brainstorming of how to solve it, right? I understand the cause, and then I can have a lesson learned, and then cascade to avoid that we repeat, and then how can we solve it? So, and sometimes the mindset is finding the problem to the problem, and that's not the way of how we can move fast. So I really like to move fast to get things done, to learn, take the lesson learned, accept whatever we can improve, and execute faster, right? But whenever it's not a one person job, right? You need everyone on board. So when that mindset of openness and adoption is not there, then I think that's a barrier that then you have to work on, and it slows the pace that you should have, right? Whenever you have to execute something. I'm motivated by constantly finding opportunities to improve, to gain efficiencies, work smart, not hard, to make a difference in the quality of the services that we deliver to our clients, internal, external, our team members, right? How can I improve the work life of my team members? So I really need an environment that fosters that analytical creativity that I think we all do in workforce, right? Thinking to solve problems, thinking to innovate, and of course, helping my team members' development and growth, specifically for those with high adaptability and fast learning, right? So that keeps me motivated. If I'm in an environment where things are done like this, if this can't change, then I get bored, right? I need to be constantly finding how we can do things better.
Thank you, Evelyn. And you've been an inspiration to many people along your career and continue to be. So I thank you that you had a moment to join us today. I'm going to flip topics a little bit on business resilience before we close out, because this is workforce management and we will end on time. So Francis, I want to speak with you on how are you supporting your teams emotionally, not just operationally, that EI component in our work?
Sure. I like that question. For me, supporting team emotionally is about making sure they feel comfortable and appreciated at work. It's important to create a place where everyone feels safe to share their thoughts and concerns. This means listening to what they have to say and showing that their opinion matters. I personally make it a habit to regularly check in with each team members of my global contact center. These check-ins are not just about work, but also about how they are feeling in general. It's like having a friendly chat to see how are they doing, which in turns help build trust and shows that I care about them as a people, not just workers. I also make sure that my team has access to available resources that can help them with mental health, like stress relief activities or having support programs. I find that these tools can help them manage any personal or work related stress better. I also wanted to highlight the importance of celebrating achievements. It's also another way that I support my team, whether it's a project well done or a personal milestone. I ensure that I acknowledge these successes because these recognition definitely boosts morale and lets them know that their efforts are seen and valued. So supporting team mentally means being there for them or being there for your people, make them feel happy, make them feel secure, which in turns help them to do their best at work.
Thank you. And I think it's important. So obviously we're all here together. We have, male counterparts as well that aren't here, but we're here as women leaders, and that is about inclusivity, right? So Nina, I'm going to end this topic with you. What role does inclusivity play in resilience?
Yeah, so I think it's by the way not an easy question to answer.
I don't give the easy ones.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, resilience is part of our well-being charter, so to speak. Yeah. So and the organization is mainly dividing into three pieces, meaning healthy mind, body, and community. These are the three pillars, so to speak, for which we help our colleagues to get resources to really support them in these three areas. Yeah, so it may be around employee assistance program. There are some dedicated hotlines. Yeah, in case you need some coaching or some whatever medical advice or whatever it may be. Yeah, this kind of experts to speak with in any urgent need. Then it's about partnering with external platforms and providers. Yeah, there are even plenty of these challenges. Yeah, around counting your steps every day or even more fancy things coming up. And it's of course of building the skills on well-being through different trainings, resources, and whatever we have. Also see really leverage through AI, this generative AI assistant, which I mentioned already in the previous question. I think is really helpful. So you don't need to start searching for resources in different apps and systems and what you have. So you get it through this one AI assistant, I think, which is really helpful. At the other hand side, I think it's not inventing the wheel from scratch. Yeah, I think it's pretty much what we built around different affinity groups and employee resource groups. Yeah, for the different kind of topics which we all know. May it be women networks, may it be around pride, may it be around Black community, made around people with disabilities. So really to bring people together, create a safe space so they can share their stories, connect with others, build your network. But what I personally like most about this concept, of ERGs is that it's also open for allies. So you don't need to stay within a limited group of people. So it's really for everyone to tune in and to join and be part of the group. And that really makes it appealing to me. So I hope that answered the question, but that's what I would like to say.
Absolutely. It's been such a great session, guys, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys again and talking about this very important topic and how it reflects. So I'm going to wrap with a little speed round and then hand it over to Shiva. So here's my speed round question. What's the one leadership lesson you'd pass to the next generation of women in workforce strategy? Tosh, I'm going to start with you.
On the spot.
Always.
For me, go with your gut. Always. Go with your gut.
Love it. Francia?
For me, it's to embrace authenticity, meaning knowing what you believe in and what matters to you and not being afraid to show it.
Love it. Nina?
Yeah, so for me, it's really about be bold and be ambitious. Don't wait for others to open doors for you. Try to open doors yourself. And therefore, it's really important to start building your network very early in your career, and not only within the organization, but also outside the organization. So I like the saying, networks only harm those who don't have one. So that's, I think, is really important. And then, really to utilize that also to bring the outside in perspective into your role and what you're doing in that area. Be an active learner, be open-minded, and try to learn something new every day.
Thank you, Nina. Nina?
I think embrace change. That's one thing we should just do it. and probably we are not as aggressive as men at times. We don't, and we are very happy being in our comfort zone and not chase the unknown. So I think embracing change and chasing the unknowns is something that I would say.
Thank you. And Camila?
Yeah, so I think it's balancing the best interest of the team, the expectations of the company, and the goals being set by the client.
Thanks. So, for me, guys, it's really seeking to understand, right? They're like really lead with your heart, but put your emotions aside and seek to understand in everything that you do. So if you don't start from a point of understanding and that human element, you're going to find yourself struggling. You're going to find yourself just pushing against a wall that won't move. Everyone has their unique perspective, and it's important that you understand where those people are. That's where our ability to empathize and understanding really make us very good at our seats. Don't outsource your career to anyone, and if you don't have a seat at the table, don't wait to be asked. Go take a seat. There's a chair there, and it's made for you. So, Shiva, I'm honored to be here again. I'm going to hand it back over to you for closing. And guys, please feel free to reach out. And I'm, again, so honored to be with such a amazing group of women leaders across the world. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. It's amazing moderation as usual. Truly appreciate all the leaders who have joined in. Besides your busy schedules, and I learned a lot, and I'm sure that others would have learned a lot in the process. Truly fantabulous, and the words of wisdoms and great knowledge sharing overall. In fact, taking each one of your perspective and point of view and experiences that you shared have been great learning, and I think we gotta really adopt these best practices that you shared and the ideas that you shared to many of the leaders around the world should be able to pick up these ideas and should be able to see that how they can really adopt in their organization and move ahead. I see that WFM leaders, like women leaders, are truly made for WFM, and then the HR contact center industries, truly made for where you take care of people, you take care of the organizations, you take care of the customers so well. Uh, and the coming days where AI, we have human. At the same time, we have another resource that is going to be adding is we call this as a kind of um, metal collar. We call it white collar, blue colored, right? This is one more collar that is called metal collar. We will really leave it AI that whether we really like it or not, we could really adapt and move with that and see that how we can really collaborate together and work towards making the organization success, making the business success. Also, we are in the competition. If we don't do it, someone else does it. So we have a great opportunity in 2025. Really calls for great opportunity and time for innovation. Do something which is not done in the past. And if you have done something in the past, maybe outdated, now 2025 calls for new ideas, new thought processes, new ways of doing. Sure that all of you will explore. And we have multiple events coming up. We have the hackathon coming up, and we have the events first time. We're going to ANZ. We have it on 23rd of May. Then coming to a Latin event in the month of August. Then we are planning a few events in Dubai and then UK. India is going to be September, and then November, of course, we're going to have a APAC event. So we have totally filled with events. And I encourage you to stay connected with that channel on the social media. Please follow us and reach out to all the speakers for anything that you need. Anyway, I'm going to share this video to all of you. Whoever is going to get this. And also going to be up on our social media, YouTube channel. Feel free to connect with us. And our immediate upcoming event is going to be hackathon. want you to really explore your new ideas for 2025. You see that how you can really solve new problems and bring value to the table, and how to create a profitability and then the value for organizations. This is what Taraf will share, and fantabulous having all of you women leaders joined in from Philippines, Kemal, Francia, Navina from India, and Tash from South Africa. Really liked about your posting. Please do post in the group. Tash, we would love to see that, and definitely go to get huge a response to it. And thanks, Nina, for joining us from Germany. And we will have many events. Probably you can join us in our Europe event. So, it, on behalf of GWFM, we express deepest gratitude for your valuable presence and your knowledge sharing. Looking forward to connecting with each one of you. And thanks, audience, for joining in. And I'm sure that you have got a great ideas and great insights in the process. Thanks, Melissa, for your great ideas and great question that we came out of it and engaged all the fellow panelists so well. So with us, appreciate all your presence. Thank you so much for taking your time out to sign up now for the Women Leadership Roundtable 2025. Hope to catch up in upcoming events. Feel free to reach out to me for anything. Thank you. Have a great day and great afternoon and good night. Thank you.
Dear
Thanks,
everyone. It's been a
everyone. Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you,
Take care.
everyone.
Thanks,
Take
everyone.
care.